Good morning, Coach.
Morning, guys.
Hey, Coach Carbs. Before we get into last night, can you recap the quick New York double dip with the wins over the Isles and the Rangers? Pro goes off on the island. He had 2 goals and an assist in that win. And then the next day, Chucky just goes in and paints a masterpiece at MSG against the Rangers with a 35-save shutout in his season debut. Nice trip to New York.
Yeah, it was quick trip with it being back-to-back. So getting up to Long Island, I thought we played really well in Long Island in their home opener. Like you said, Pro, couple big plays to finish off some opportunities. So that was good. And then not quite as good in MSG, but tough circumstances, both teams on a back-to-back. MSG is a tough place to play, but we went in there and sort of grinded it out. Chucky, like you said, was phenomenal and held on for the 1-0 win. So that's tough 2 games going up there and playing back-to-back in New York. So to come out with 4 points there was really, really positive.
Coach Carbs, for those who haven't seen Pro in person on skates, can you describe how big he is? I saw Leno basically was asked, to describe him. He said basically he's built in a laboratory type of dude.
Yeah.
Like, I remember seeing him the first time on skates. I was like, when I didn't know who he was when he was first coming up,
Massive.
I was like, who is that massive human being on skates? The only guy I recall seeing bigger than him was Chara.
Yeah. If I could give the listeners probably the best visual, if you've ever seen the Rocky movies, there was a guy, one of the bad guys in it, Ivan Drago.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That's what he looks like.
Oh, imagine Eastern European, just chiseled, tall. He's got the chin, the whole deal. Like, that's Pro. But he's different than Ivan. He's the nicest young man, great family. Just like a quality human being. But he's put together like 6 foot, whatever he is, 6'5", and chiseled and in great shape. Looks after himself. And he's got a skill set, like he can skate, he's smart, he's got all the tools. So the guys give him a hard time that he was built in a laboratory.
Yeah, he's a big dude.
So he's got a younger brother who's also in the Caps organization, Ilya. Are there any other pros on that assembly line, or is it just end with those 2?
We're trying to find, but they're not. They're just those 2. Yeah, and that story in itself is crazy. Going back to Vegas, super quick story. When young Pro, we call him Little Pro, when it was his draft year, it was in Vegas, and I was out there, and Big Pro came because his brother was going to be drafted, and I went for lunch with him and Pro's wife and Pro's mom. Pro's dad couldn't make it, but his mom was there and doesn't speak any English. We went for lunch, and she and I didn't know. I have nothing to do with the draft, nothing. So, I have no idea who we're going to pick. And she said she told Pro to translate. She goes, "Can you tell Coach Carbs, I would really love if you guys would draft my younger son so that they can look after him like they did for you."
Oh, that's nice. That's a good story. And you wound up drafting him.
Coach,
that's funny.
Coach, what did you think about it was a nice comeback last night. I wasn't able to see it. I'm just kind of watching highlights in the third period. But what did you think of the call on Ovi, and then they scored on the power play? And
just a couple seconds left on that power play, too.
Yeah, and then you guys come back on another power play to tie it up. But what did you think about that whole sequence?
Yeah, so just to sum it up quick, for our start wasn't great. Back on our heels in the first, but second and third, much better. I didn't like the call. I just think it's like an inconsequential call on Ovi in the neutral zone. It has no impact. We didn't gain an advantage. They end up calling it, which, is what it is. And they get a late, we did a really good job on the penalty kill, and then they got one last, I think there was 5 seconds left. They end up getting a high tip. But kudos to our power play because, now you go down 2-1, you're trying to press to get the equalizer. Our power play steps up, gets their first goal of the year, which was huge, big moment to get the game tied and get it to OT, which OT was executed to perfection. We won the opening draw and didn't give them the puck back.
How's that work? when you start out, first of all, I don't even know how it works typically, like between it, periods. You get a rough first period. I'm sure you kind of have the same routine whether you play well or not. But do you always address the team, and for how long, or is that just the guys step up? How does that work?
Yeah, that's a good question. So every single intermission, I won't not go in. So I will go in every single intermission in between the first and second, and I go in at the 8 minutes. So there's a countdown clock in the locker room.
Yeah.
It just basically counts 15 minutes down is what the intermissions are. So once it hits 8, the players know I go in at 8. So everybody, because sometimes they're off doing something, taping their stick, doing whatever in the trainer's room. So they know to be back in the locker room, all of them at the 8-minute mark. And then I have 3 minutes to talk to them. They know right at 5 minutes, like they start to get moving. So I know I have 3 minutes to make adjustments, talk to them, whatever it might be.